Hello everyone, so welcome to another
Hi.
Chilli Padi episode on LinkedIn profiles to follow.
Yes.
So some of you might know, but I'm quite active on LinkedIn. However, I don't think Xuan is.
I think comparably, I am less active on LinkedIn. Yes. I'm just a lurker.
You're a passive user.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if it's like a swimming pool, right?
Yeah.
I'll be the one wearing the sunglasses, then at the lounge there,
And
but
I'm
not dipping myself in the water.
yeah, and I'm the one busy swimming laps around.
Yeah.
Calling you, come in. Yeah, you're
Yeah. I'm the
never
one wearing bikini, but I don't swim one.
Aiyo.
I'm more practical actually. So I only am more active on LinkedIn if I want to find a job. Yeah, or if I want to see like how's the job market out there.
I think that's how most people, average users, are using LinkedIn right now. They are mostly just surveying, stalking people, checking out their profiles, and then the occasional connection when you want to get a job.
Yeah, it's still seen as the networking for careers.
Mm.
Yeah, more career and more professional side of social media lah, right? I think also LinkedIn has like this very polarizing impression. So on one end, it gets somewhat of a bad rap for, you know, people or individuals who are there to kind of flaunt and over exaggerate their personal achievements.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of memes that came about from that as well. Like,
Right.
you know, they finish cooking an egg, then they post on LinkedIn like spearheaded the 0 to 1 development.
Oh, an egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually, I've seen those jokes before. Like, it's just a small win, but they
Small win,
inflate it into such a big achievement, and then make it into such a big thing, and then people will applaud it.
But on the other side, there's also a lot of people who actually use LinkedIn to post a lot of their opinion pieces. And it could be a really good platform to kind of just exchange each other's views. Yeah, so with that, it will be nice for us to sift through all the clutter and, you know, find the hidden gems of those LinkedIn profiles that we think help us in building our careers.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so first up, the category is design x business. These profiles are people who are normally more into UX research, product thinking. First one being Ruby Pryor.
Ruby Pryor is based in Singapore.
She's based in Singapore. She recently set up her own company. She has a background in economics, apparently, and then she's able to link her economics background to UX research. Yeah, from there she's able to talk more about how to quantify the business impact to your design. So when you are speaking to stakeholders and when you are trying to justify for certain design decisions, you can bring in numbers.
Yeah, which is what we call like the very elevated version of a designer lah. So you don't just, you know, do design, but you can see how your design brings value.
Yes,
like literally
correct.
value in business.
Yeah. And then basically I think she recently earned the UX Research Top Voice title for being quite actively posting content, creating content on LinkedIn. So far, I think one of her upcoming future masterclass workshop is improving business acumen for designers.
Right.
And I think she has a newsletter as well about teaching and also sharing more insights about how to having a business acumen for designers basically. And most of her post is very UX research related.
Right. Yeah. Which is very, very crucial.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. So that's Ruby Pryor.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next one is John Cutler. He actually focuses on product development, which similar to, you know, business acumen, it's also very, very crucial as designers for us to not just get stuck in our design bubble, you know. Yeah. And he's very into the whole agile environment as well. He posts very frequently on LinkedIn as well. So I guess that's what one of the things that we say makes a good LinkedIn profile, right? It's like you have regular opinion pieces. And not only that, he also reposts from others. Yeah, so I quite like it if you have a good balance of, you know, your own pieces and also reposting from others. It's because then it gives you like this window to other great thinkers out there as well. Yeah, then from this one profile, you get to know more profiles to follow. Not only that, he also has newsletter on Substack on product development. So his content is very not fluffy, which is what I like. So it's less of the clickbaity stuff, FOMO stuff, but more just being explicit about his views around how agile teams can work better together lah, and really based on his experience. So he brings in a lot of his experience working with product teams. Then he will use very, very real examples and detail out his experience and try to pinpoint how can it be done better.
He sounds like a perfect candidate for the one of the podcasts that we recommended in our previous episode, or the one where they talk about product as well.
One night in product. Yeah. I guess if you have not heard of John Cutler, one good introduction is a video called Hire More Designers, okay?
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
it's actually how a lot of teams, they just think, okay, one designer to maybe 20 developers is okay already.
Oh yeah.
And he used illustration to explain why this eventually will be detrimental for the whole development team. Yeah, so he's just a very, very on the ground in product development lah.
Is the video on YouTube?
It's on YouTube.
Okay,
yeah, so we'll also post the link.
We'll post the link.
Cool. So that's our first category called design X business. Basically the intersection between design and business lah. So the next category is life as a designer.
Yes. So the first up we have Ben George. He is someone who was previously based in Singapore, but now he has moved to Germany. Yeah, so why we chose him, basically because recently we have been seeing him posting more design content on LinkedIn, talking about portfolio. I think he shared that he recently he updated his portfolio.
Yeah.
And after that, he continued with giving some tips about portfolio. And he also posts opinion pieces on career as a designer. Yeah, because he is a staff product designer.
Yeah.
So he runs also a Substack newsletter called Design Diaries, which I think started quite recently.
Very recently.
In July.
Back in July.
So if you guys are very keen on that, do look out for his profile and sign up for his newsletter as well.
Yep. So that's Ben George for everyone.
Yes.
And the next person that we want to introduce is Sigit A. Yeah, who is also based in Singapore. Yeah. So Sigit the content is quite similar to Ben's as well, right? So it's very candid post about their life as designer, like what are they developing in their career as a designer, and like what are they focusing on.
And the observation as well.
Then they will just, focus on that side and just post it on LinkedIn lah. Yeah. So what's nice is also he also talks about like designers' well-being. Yeah, which is quite a big topic nowadays. There's a lot of people talking about mental well-being now. What he does is also he shares some resources that he found online as well, like some Medium articles. Not only we share online, but he also supplements with his own views around the article. Yeah, so that's what we like also, is like not just blindly sharing and say good read, but like what do you think of it? Yeah, what's your take on it? Yeah, so I think he is not afraid to share his opinions on all these resources online. Yeah, which is nice for us to just take a read as well.
What I noticed also is that he actually also has a Substack newsletter, which I signed up for. And what he does is he has a longer version of his writing on his newsletter, and he will actually take some of the paragraphs from that writing and put it on his LinkedIn. So the ones he's posted on LinkedIn is like the highlights of what he wrote.
Right.
Then these are basically maybe opinion pieces, or maybe some things he observed, and then or maybe a question about where maybe he has a thought that he wants to question, and then he is hoping people might chime in. Yeah, that it's some of the things that he will post on LinkedIn and then he will say, if you want to read more, go to his newsletter.
Nice.
So that was
Sigit. Yeah, so that's two person we want to introduce in the category called Life as a Designer. And just so nice that both of them are based in Singapore. Yeah, which is nice because life as a designer can be quite different in different countries lah. So this probably could be more relatable if you are based in Singapore as well. Yeah.
Our next category is upskilling as a product designer. So we have Dan Weiner. He's quite a prominent figure on LinkedIn because he is a top user experience design voice. Yeah, he talks a lot about product designer career growth, about the differences between a versus senior designer, a difference between junior and senior, and then even give a lot of tips on how to improve to be a senior designer. The main differences, and then he gave some tips on portfolio, case studies. And usually sometimes whenever he has his post, right, which is quite long, he will also give a link to a Figma template that he created based on the topic that he's talking about. So the template can be maybe it's about charting your career growth, and then maybe you want to have a look and then you chart your own growth, or maybe even a template about communicating in your design file, how to be more organized. And then he has a template for that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice top up to the content that he is already sharing openly. Yeah, and I can see he has a lot of followers as well, and he is quite active because he posts weekly, and it seems like almost every post is always full of insightful gems of tips. Not just on career growth but also on design portfolios. In general. So that is Dan Weiner.
The next person we want to introduce is called Tommy Jogo. Yes, Tommy Jogo is someone who posts more craft related tips. So we have something similar in the previous episode on podcast as well, which is like UI UX craft related content. So Tommy Jogo is someone who on LinkedIn does that as well. He also is very active and also has a huge following on TikTok. So more bite-sized contents lah.
Yeah, correct. He has a very strong branding on TikTok as well. He has this orange background, his display profile. So if you were to look him up on TikTok, there's this same shade of orange is also quietly prominently used in his videos.
He also has an ebook on making design decisions. So it's to help designers in how to present your designs and how to arrive at a design decision, and hence how do you present it to the business.
And he extends this well into his newsletter as well, which is called Saturday Design Decision. So if let's say you are not following if you didn't buy his ebook, just following his newsletter also, you are able to get plentiful of information and tips about making design decisions. So far whenever I follow his newsletter, right, it's always full of information that I always read and I mark it as unread so that I can read it again later.
Content that is worth revisiting.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So that was Tommy Giogo.
Yep.
So for our next profile in this category is Jeff White. So Jeff White is basically someone, he is quite prominently promoted across designers on LinkedIn who are also content creators. Like whenever they speak about storytelling, they always link to Jeff White. That's what I noticed. So he is widely known as someone who is an expert in storytelling in UX and how to communicate with stakeholders, your potential employers. So he had an experience in storytelling based on his work experience with Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. And apparently on his profile also he was sharing us that he got promoted more often due to his storytelling skills. So if you guys are interested, do follow him on LinkedIn. But as a bonus, if you were to sign up for his course actually covers storytelling for online case studies, job interviews, and even stakeholder presentations in the job sessions. So he's considered quite active and drops nuggets of storytelling tips on LinkedIn. So that was Jeff White.
He reminds me of this guy called Seth Godin. Because
correct.
Seth Godin once mentioned essentially everyone is a salesperson.
I heard that before.
Whatever you do, you are not only selling yourself, you are selling something also. To be able to sell something, you need to storytell. Storytell is a very, very essential component in life. Knowing how to storytell in not only in yourself and also in UX, it's very important lah.
Tapping on that, I remember also storytelling is very big in terms of educating children. So for example, if they are trying to learn a certain concept, but basically when you include storytelling in it, the children are able to grasp it even more, and then they will able to understand, even remember the story better than you just telling them, okay, this is this value, this is what concept. I think because it plays with their emotions and then they can recall better.
Okay, so that closes our category of what?
Upskilling as a
upskilling as
product
product
designer.
designer.
Of what?
Moving to our last category, which is on self-improvement.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is a cozy category. We have one person to recommend who is also local.
Mm.
So very nice that we end off this segment with a local person as well. So she's called Kwek Xiaoyin. So she's actually a coach on personal and organizational development and leadership. You can also find her in Common Ground podcasts. Yeah, so it's more of a podcast on how to be a better human being. Yeah. If this guy is familiar to you, which is Kai Sing.
Yes. Hi, Kai Sing.
Hi Kai Sing from Studio Dojo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Xiaoying is quite similar.
Yeah.
Beautiful people in Singapore.
I guess they are like on the same frequency.
Yeah. The post she posts is very provocative. Like it makes you think about life. So it's more on the topic of ontology. So how to live life.
Wow.
And how to be human.
Sounds deep. It basically makes you reflect about your life, is it?
It's very reflective. But she shares a lot of personal stories also. So she shares her introspections online. So now she's also pretty active on LinkedIn. Yeah, so that's one of person that you can follow. And we also acknowledge that, this is not very related to design, but it's indirectly related, because I think essentially as designer is just we are still humans helping other humans out.
Yeah, precisely.
So knowing how to be a better human is more of like a core value as designers.
So anyway, that's all we have for this episode.
Yep, we are pretty sure that there's a lot more people that we missed out.
Yes.
Especially local ones.
Yeah.
So feel free to post it on our Spotify Q&A or in our Instagram.
Yeah. DM us on Instagram, or maybe you can even DM either of us on LinkedIn straight away, and then we'll be more than happy to add him or her on into our list.
Yep.
Our profiles to follow.
Or do maybe a part 2 to
Oh
this.
yeah? Why not? Yeah. Can.
Okay, cool.
So that's all we have for today's episode, guys.
Thanks for
listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.